I guess what we want to try to do is to, in a humorous way, try and remember some stories from the past. I'll focus much of my discussion on the particular act of making the full connectivity, okay? And I'll leave my colleague to stimulate further discussions beyond where we can. So, clearly, I couldn't have done this. I didn't do this. Don't believe them. Don't believe what they say. Okay. But I had some maybe larger perspective and technical, appreciation beyond. We're talking about 1995, eh? 1995, the knowledge you have here was not available. But we had something, and I want to share with you the policy dynamic, or what they call the policy network, which enabled this, and in so doing, mention some particular contributions. Of course, in the engineering and management track, the NCS team was there. Okay, so any of the NCS teams here deserve recognition. I'd like you to stand up briefly for that. Just stand up briefly. NCS guys, ex-NCS guys, yeah. Okay. So thank you. You did so. And the management of NCS. Madam Nancy, I see you there. Okay. William TV is not here, but he was my lead systems engineer. Was good. In fact, he was a counterpart of Alain, Aina in a different world, which I'll mention. But, Mike Bedu, Joseph Annan, Godfrey Furisom, Eric Akumia, Lobsto, Mamata, so on. These were lead engineers, Aite Boule, and so on. But I jumped to the policy realm now. The Oga, in this thing, was Flight Lieutenant Rollins. It was his regime at the time. He had created a certain atmosphere. Okay? And the atmosphere was that Ghana can do. And that was a time that nobody really was helping Ghana. So we did all this by ourselves. For me, it's very important. It shows that Africa is able to do. Of course, with help, we do more. Now, still on the policy track, the first minister that encountered us is the one who just left. Okay, Mr. Kwame Pepra, and he's been minister of many things, but he was minister of transport and communication, and he's an engineer, an electrical engineer. So he asked me two simple questions. Where do you get your connections from? I said P&T. Huh? I said international and domestic. I said yes. Then he said, what's the problem? This is a service that will normally be offered if we had a regulation in place. You see how he was thinking? Yeah. So that meant that, okay, if there's anything, we'll resolve it over time, and that started the. He said it was value add. Then there was early adopters. There was the corporate adopter, GMPC, and so I have to recognize the contribution of Mr. Chachu Chikata, who was an early adopter. And then Mr. Pepra handed over to, I think he was called Edward Salia. And Edward Salia then initiated the reforms. Oshimos is no more. And he initiated telecom policy reforms, which you heard about. And then, after a change of government, Honorable Spio Gabra took the helms, and he had to accommodate hundreds of local ISPs. Hundreds. And how to manage hundreds, I don't know, but he did. And of course, a regular participant was Issa Yahya, who is also not with us, but he was like a government community participant. And then the one who finished the reform, which affected us directly, was His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. He implemented the reforms, established the independent regulator, and then the field was open. That's really. In the telco space, There were some good guys, eh? There was a Mills Robertson. Some of you may remember. There was a Bukari, a Gremensa, and then there was another friend who was handling your cable things. We call him Director Cowboy. He will catch you on the cables and he will fight with you. Meaning this problem has been with us. Huh? This cable cut. And today they are cutting down there, but then you should go and cut the cables. They climb, cut. And so we had a Director Cowboy, and his name was Divine Petigo, if you remember. In the academic space also, because it's a policy dynamic, you need to have all these players in sync, so to speak. There was Professor F.K. Alote. I've said some things about him in the past. He's my, intellectual father. There was Professor Jangba also, and eventually Dakubu was the founder, in effect, of Garnet, you might say. I had competitors also. There was Internet Ghana. Okay? And he needs to be recognized in the history. And he was being led by Leslie Tamako. So from my point of view, the first connection, I recognize Leslie Tamako. And I think one of his colleagues was in the audience earlier. In terms of alliance, we didn't do it by ourselves, by the way. And I think Alain mentioned some things, but I had an unusual alliance with the ISP in Togo. And the ISP was led by a gentleman called Jean-Marie Nwagboji. And between the two, of Cafe TG, his outfit was known as Cafe TG. And between us, we caused all these things to happen. Now, Alain Aina was one of the lead engineers there, and a colleague of his also known as Adiel Aklogan, who is familiar. You should be familiar with him because he was the first CEO of Afrinic. So you can see that these things was all happening around us. And that is why these players are still in the space that you see. I think for beginning, that might be my story of how we got support and help to connect that.
Yes, thank you, Prof. Yes, I will start from the engineering side. And okay, I do remember that the IP address at that time were assigned to you by Ripen CCs. But there was a funny scheme of naming the machines at that time. I think we all remember Manche.NCS. Manche, Austin, and Toffa. So did you have a protocol for that or the naming, or it was the Abongo just naming the machines?
There was some kind of... Notice that we chose one machine to look like it was in the US. That's the Austin.
Austin, yeah.
One of our machines pretended to look like machine house. Even though the IP is here and all that, but we made him look like he's outside. And then the two of them, one is Manche. It was named after chiefs in the two languages that we were working with. One was called Manche, that's Ghana, and then one was called Togbe. Togbe. Okay. And they were all under gh.com, by the way. So we didn't even use our Ghana.com name for this. We used a different name. So we're doing some, some mysterious things. I don't even know why we're doing it, but it turned out not to be important.
Okay. I will play something.
It go like that. Then you connect. Come a long way.
Hard day you can't connect. And sometimes you go and switch off a little bit on and try again. But that time when it rained a little, it became very difficult. But we managed. So us from Lomé, Okay, we are having challenges connecting to Accra because we have to go to Paris, London, and Accra. So then we're trying to establish something in Paris and in Montreal. So when you wake up in the morning, you try Accra, Accra. If Accra fail, you try Paris, then back to Accra. And then sometimes it pass. So, but do you remember this kind of time? So sometimes in the past, even when we sleep, we do remember this sound.
Yeah. Because the sound has meaning, eh?
It has meaning.
It has meaning.
It has meaning.
It's an encoded communication.
Exactly. It has meaning. And sometimes when if you know the code, you'll be able to know if it's gonna make it or not. Sometimes you just cut because all these things are costing money, eh? This handshaking all costs money. It's not that they charge you after the handshaking has completed. As soon as the other side just pick the call, the dollars start counting. So sometimes based on this, you just cut. Say, hey, coach. Then I just say, Alain, cut this before cut. Then so it was part of the thing. So, Prof, there was a day where you had a conference, internet conference. I think it was 97, 98. It was somewhere in Golden Tulip, so I don't remember. Then Adiel and myself, we decided to attend. Then Adiel also liked to try things. He said we should drive to Accra. I said, Adiel, do you know things? He said we will go. Then we left Lomé, we passed the border. Then we managed to Accra. But to find our hotel, we got lost. And then we end up to some military zones. Then I started hiding like this. I said, Adiel, if they shoot, they will shoot you first. They will shoot you. To just tell that we were so anxious to come to that conference. We were so anxious to come to that conference. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember.
Come to that conference and also see what. so, Prof, now tell the truth. I think it was clear that this thing was not for business or to make money. But why did you force this thing to say you must have the internet, Ghana must have, Africa must have? Why? And then we all suffer, we follow you, and then we all have gray head, and you refuse to stop. He's still running, and we have to follow him. So are you going to stop at some point? Or are you going to follow AI and the quantum computer, all these things?
Oh, they're all part of the sciences that I was trained in, right? I mean, AI is computer science, quantum is computer. And if you're one of the first, principal, senior leaders in the area, how do I stop? Meaning, and we haven't even started finishing the sciences.
Okay.
The AI, you are just scratching the surface, but you are making plenty noise. No. The same with the internet. It's taking you 30 years, and you are still not driving it. So how do you expect having known about all those things, you just stop? Quantum is just beginning.
Yeah.
You see, so we have a hard job ahead, and I feel worried that we feel comfortable that, we've achieved something. We haven't achieved what you said.
Okay. But do you think maybe we should stop these things and just go for quantum transmissions, and maybe then Africa can lead them?
Usually, you use one technology to leap to the next. There's no magic of jumping across. We used to say cheetah vote. It's all just talk.
Yeah, but in Africa we've been using quantum now. So in Dahomey, our people used to travel overnight. They were using quantum. So why do you want to deny us the quantum technology? Now that the Western are now accepting the quantum, you want to deny us using the quantum?
Okay. I understand. That's not understand. Help you. Very few who think in quantum. But it seems like your community do think in quantum. They can imagine being in two places at the same time. It's not normal for most people. They can imagine being entangled. They can imagine entanglement, meaning that they are here, but they can see somebody far away and they can talk and they can do things. So all these things, in my opinion, should be advantage for you because How you think determines sometimes what you do. So if you are able to think in that realm, maybe we should go to quantum quickly.
Yeah, I think so. And then my brother from Nigeria is excited. So because he knows that some of the things come from Badagry, right? No, it's true, no, Eric. People are able to travel. When you were in Thailand, we used to come overnight and no, but Prof, I want to remember something. In the olden days, when we go INET conference, and Yalvi is laughing. Yalvi know where I'm going. So when you go to that time, when you go to INET, then they provide lunch, but they don't provide dinner. But we managed to survive. He has a certain protocol with Abongo.
Protocol.
Abongo used to carry curry and black peppers. Yeah. So that time they even give the lunch is just lunch box. So it's not that but then you have to organize yourself for dinner. Okay, so if you have nothing to eat, look for Abongo, look for Prof. Then they always have the curry and the black pepper. Then we go, but what we do, we put the water. You know the protocol. We put the water in the curry, and then we use the black. And then if there is a cocktail or something somewhere, this is where you see the Africans. We go there. You remember this?
Oh, I remember this.
So,
actually, that protocol predates INET. Yes. Going to Center for Theoretical Physics. You go with something so that you go to town and then you look for sardine. You guys know sardine. You have your pepper, you have your gari. So you walk into look for the sardine. Good meal. So it's when your great grandfathers were traveling, they used to travel with gari. And then something they call ablemamu, that's corn that has been and then that one, if you just add salt, then you can eat. You survive, eh?
Oh, I see.
So it's an old protocol.
Then we can share the protocol. So if Madam Nancy says there's no dinner, don't worry, go look for your gari and the papers, and then
it works.
It works. Huh?
Trust me.
It works. So, no, but that time we were doing this, we were happy. No, we were happy, and some of us we added a layer to the protocol. When you go for breakfast, you carry a bag.
Look at this guy.
But you carry a bag when you go for breakfast because you have no dinner, and you go with your bag, okay, and then you put the fruit, you put the yogurt, you put things. Okay, this will be your plan for the day. You're gonna be the plan for the day, and then.
No, but this is what one has to go through to acquire knowledge. If you really want this knowledge, you must be willing to sacrifice like that for it. And we were doing it.
Yes. Because that time when we go for this conference, nobody give per diem.
No, what is that?
Nobody give per diem. We have to go and we learn. And that time also, there is something interesting. When we go, they used to have a terminal room. It was not, that time, we go empty, we go with paper, we don't have any devices. Then they have a terminal room. Okay, but go look for the Africans there. We have time where we go and download all the software we need. Go to the terminal room. This is where you download everything you need. Slackware, bind. You download, and take home.
It means you didn't have bandwidth here. You go, then you collect your bandwidth, and you bring it back. Carry it. Then they also give you books, and then we take the books home, and then we were happy, We were happy. But the books were in English, So, so it was difficult for us. Yeah, I know. But that's why you speak very good English.
Then I'll speak French.
Oh.
And that time, the books come with CDs for the tools. They come with the CDs for the tools, and we use these tools, and we used to pass the tools, etc., etc. So, but now, maybe let's go back to something else. You were enjoying DECnet.
Yes.
Okay, and we were doing novel. Before TCP/IP, we were doing novel for a private company. You were doing DECnet.
Yes.
But then TCP/IP came. So how did you switch to TCP/IP?
Well, the thing is, the protocol is almost irrelevant. Okay? But the standard allowed us to reach more places. We were running DECnet protocol inside our DEC installation. So our DEC installations like VRA and GMPC could exchange mail. They can even do something called phone. Today you call them WhatsApp talk or something, I don't know. But we had phone. On terminal. Terminal, it doesn't mean that you use voice. It means if I type, you see it. You type, I see it. But it was live, real time. The advantage of the standard, common standard, which internet represents, was that all of us, beyond our proprietary network, could now do the same with even the IBM installations, who were running SNA, IBM SNA.
SNA, yes. SNA.
So that is really the value of the new protocol. So since DEC was being used mostly in the internet world, we knew the tools and the software to use. So we just replaced the stack. So we run DECnet network, and then when we are going out, then we pass through a TCP gateway and we can go.
I see Suzanne. Anytime you see Suzanne close there, so then Suzanne said it's time for us to. And so we will continue maybe at lunch. So thank you.
No. I have a question for you. You've been installing radios.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Have you been to rooftop before?
Maybe let me ask people here. You know Hotel de Février Lomé? You know de Février. So we had to go there. You go top that building. If you see the wing over there, but we had to go. And I adjust the antenna there. It was not easy, But you have to go because that time you cannot do the thing